What's up and welcome back to the Barcode Collective podcast. Got Justin Nucum with me, owner of Hardkour Performance, Hardkour Nutrition, just basically everything hardcore. So I'm going to let you do a little bio for yourself, but I think we've kind of initially connected because I got this holistic outlook to health and wellness that we have as well, and like the whole social media stuff is just weird because the algorithms behind that end up introducing you to people before you ever have the opportunity to run into them, even if we're fairly local to each other.
For sure.
So it's like one thing, like I was looking into like non-alcoholic beers, and I come across like Athletic Brewing.
Yep.
And I'm like, this guy fucking likes them. They follow each other. And then the next thing was like Aerofit, the breathing thing. This motherfucker's saying shit. So it's like, it's like you start seeing these commonalities or these shared interests with people.
The connections,
it allows you to kind of, does some of the dirty work for you. Be like, you guys are probably on the same wavelength. So
for sure.
That's kind of how we first came across each other. But why don't you do me a favor and let the people know kind of what it is you do, or give your little description of yourself, your little bio. I know it's always a little uncomfortable talking about yourself, but
we do this a lot. Meeting new people, your sales pitch, your elevator pitch. So Justin Nucum is my name, but I go by J Nukes. So in high school, actually, everyone there were so many Justins, growing up. So they were like, let's just go by your last name. And then Nukes was just like, quick and easy, and it kind of just stuck. So I was like, let's just go with that. So that was kind of like, that brand almost, so people were known, or I was known as that. So I could actually know if you knew me from high school if you called me by Nukes first.
Okay, cool.
So that was kind of cool. But owner of Hardkour Performance, we've been in business for 4 years now. We specialize in obstacle course race training. So if anyone wants to do Spartan race, Tough Mudder, any mud run or run with, some type of obstacle or workout, that's kind of like what we're really focusing into.
Yeah.
When we first started, it was a lot of differentiating from, we're not CrossFit, we're not these boot camps of like losing weight, or we're not a weight loss program. It's this specific thing, or we're not actually Ninja Warriors either. So it's kind of like, what are you guys? So there was a lot of like education, a lot of, we're actually spending like some money like marketing this. So now it's starting to become a little bit more popular. There was Titan games, there's other like TV shows. Spartan was like starting to get on TV or trying to get on ESPN, obviously before COVID.
Right.
So it's still like this new territory or new sport that people are still getting into or getting used to hearing. Like OCR is kind of like the abbreviation, or that was kind of what hardcore is mainly about.
The umbrella,
the main, bread and butter. So, and then we kind of, if you strip it down, it's a running sport. So we do trail runs, and then we also incorporate rock climbing for the grip strength. And then we do the strength and conditioning, which is kind of like my specialty. So like the workouts, all of our workouts are done outdoors, because all of the competitions are outdoors.
Right.
So it wouldn't make sense for us to have a physical like brick and mortar and train our clients there if they have to go outside, be in the mud, be in the rain, be in the elements.
Right.
But when they train, they're sheltered, they're air conditioned or what have you.
Yeah.
So even when we go out to races, it's it's pitch black, it's 5 o'clock in the morning, it's the weather's keeps changing. So it's like, we had, I always tell my clients, it's train like you race like you train. So that's exactly what we had to do.
Yeah.
So that's why we are a mobile fitness company rather than your traditional brick and mortar gym.
Yeah, I mean, and it just, like you said, makes so much sense to do it that way, because a lot of those races are super uncomfortable. You know, that's probably why I don't do them very often. It's like, man, like I'm cool with the early morning start times, but like crawling through the muddy, cold ass water. You know, I've done a few, so I'm very familiar with it. But it's just like, like, so, you know, having that kind of built into what you do, you know, the expectation from the client, you know, like is there, you know what I mean? Because like, that's always like something with say a gym, like meeting people where their expectations are is often a challenge, you know. And like say a CrossFit gym, you know, CrossFit gyms could get away with, you know, having the grimiest spots, you know what I mean? Because their clientele didn't expect anything other than that, you know what I mean? So I think that did you come out of it from the jump knowing that you wanted to be kind of an outdoor and had that, you know, race like you train like you race?
Definitely not. No, the original, let's kind of backtrack. So 4 years ago, this was actually my senior project. So in college, my senior year, we had to develop a business plan that you wanted to work on, do everything from the ground up. So researching the financials, the marketing, how to execute it, you know, everything. So I pitched this idea. So back then, American Ninja Warrior actually wasn't popular yet. So I was super...
But it was on your radar? Like
it was on my radar when it was in Japan.
Gotcha.
So this was like the transition, or like it just started coming into America, or like it was started getting popular. So I was like, man, this is so cool. Like, how do I train like that? Or where can I go to, you know, do these obstacles, like do that warp wall, do these crazy pain, you know, workouts. So I found out there was nothing in Orange County, or you had to be a member of multiple gyms. So say a rock climbing gym, a free running gym. So like a lot of the like gymnastics gyms had some of those, but not all of it. So, and then the other option was a lot of the competitors were building their own stuff. So the original idea was to actually have a space that had like these crazy obstacles, and then switch it out every so often, like every quarter, every 2 to 3 months. So that was the original idea, because I was inspired by American Ninja Warrior. Then once we started getting into like the research, one, like the insurance of the actual facility was huge, you know, the initial investment. And then my mentor at the time, he was like, why don't you go mobile, build your clientele first, and kind of see how that goes. Like if people are biting, then you could kind of build from there. So on a side note is trainers usually start off doing like these smaller boot camps outdoors. So it's like kind of start off like that, but usually those trainers go into a gym. They kind of ditch that outdoor, training, because their goal is to either have their own facility,
have all the clients come to them.
Exactly. So, and I was like, okay, what if I did the whole outdoor thing, like kind of start the same way, but kind of keep that. So think of like that food truck industry model. Was have multiple trucks or trainers, send them out, and then it'll be classes in Fullerton, classes in Pasadena, classes in Long Beach, doing all these outdoor trainings.
Absolutely.
So that was kind of like my thinking behind it. So, and it was kind of like, you know, out of the box, different at that time, because I was going like against the grain. So that was kind of like the initial idea. And then obviously throughout the years, everything pivots, everything changes. So from American Ninja Warrior, we started getting into like trail running to rock climbing, and kind of seeing like what the clients really needed to be successful. A Spartan race or a Tough Mudder. And then, you know, we could kind of go into that more too, is that everything that I've learned, I've known from like the fitness industry, kind of just like went out the water. Like, because we would expect the 20-year-olds or like the teenagers to be really good, really successful in these type of events.
Yeah.
But actually the older generation, or the 30, 40, 50-year-olds.
Fuck, man, I just made the older generation, bro. I'm 36, and now I'm older.
You know, senior citizens. Like, I'm talking like, you know, the high schoolers to you know, like the 20-year-olds. No, I didn't mean it. Like, I'm right there with you, man.
Using some of my lady's face cream.
You're good, man. You still look like you're 21, man.
I am. I'm hanging in there.
Oh man. So, but yeah, I was just like, how are these, you know, like say 40-year-olds beating, you know, like my 21-year-olds?
Yeah.
And that kind of just like, what's going on? So I like really started like, you know, diving into it, like what's going on? So, you know, you start to learn that it's training smarter. They're not just like, oh, I could party the night before and go train or go race. You know, they actually, this is their lifestyle. So that's when the whole holistic, it's everything. It's not just training. It's eating well, sleeping well, recovering. You know, like now you're incorporating breathing, and there's so many factors now that that complement their success in competing or just living that better lifestyle. So
no, that's awesome. And yeah, you're right about that. Like, I mean, and it is kind of an endurance type of sport, you know. So like peaking for endurance sports, you know, a little later in life.
It's and that's what I found out too, is that endurance runners don't peak until like their 30s. Yeah. So
and I think probably a lot of it is like, by that age also, you're a lot more intentional with your training. Like you said, you know, it's like you're on that course for hours at times, so you have to have somewhat of a clear head, you know, like fucking pumping the guns and the biceps isn't going to carry you through that. And where, you know, the younger people, a little bit more attached to the outcome of it is their motivator versus these other people, you know, have a little bit more of a deeper purpose behind not only their training, but their performance and ultimately running the race for a sense of accomplishment, which kind of leads to more success.
Definitely.
So did you find, were you athletic growing up? Is that why you chose this as your senior project and kind of taking it to where it is now?
Yeah. I was always athletic growing up, so did sports, so basketball, volleyball, like middle school and high school. So, and then in college, I was competing collegiately for Olympic weightlifting. So I'm really familiar with like doing barbell work or like CrossFit workouts.
Gotcha.
And then I was like dabbling into, you know, like Brazilian jiu-jitsu and kind of just like different type of like workouts and sports, you know, yoga, like mixed martial arts and all this. So I was getting, you know, all these, I was learning a lot from like the different sports. Like you could do this to benefit a climber in this aspect. You could, in running, you need this to benefit your what have you. So it was kind of like picking and choosing from different sports and kind of putting it into one. So that's how I kind of like developed the training program for Hardkour was I'm incorporating these functional movements for what we need to do to be successful, but also it's, if you decide not to race, this is still beneficial for you. Yeah. So my main takeaway from, especially in college, was that a lot of the people that I was training with in Olympic weightlifting, so if you're not familiar, you're putting like a lot of weight in your joints, you know, your wrists, your knees, your ankles, everything's overhead. And it's literally, you know, like your wrist is holding 300 pounds over you. Yeah. So a lot of the people that I was training with aren't training anymore. And I was like, what's up? Like, you guys are like the strongest people that I know, you know? And, you know, I was like, I started thinking about it. When are we ever going to put 200-300 pounds overhead? Like, why are we doing this?
Yeah, it's not very functional, right?
It's not functional. Yeah. So I was like, and then I'm looking at some, you know, like I'm friends with like, 40, 50-year-olds that are still like doing push-ups, doing dips, pull-ups, like just body weight exercises, super functional. They do this daily. They're still working out, looking good, all that. So I was like, what is that difference? Like this 20-year-old, 25-year-old throwing 300 pounds, but getting hurt so often, compared to this 50-year-old doing these functional movements. You're thinking the longevity of, just staying active, staying fit. So that's when I was like, it just started to click for me. So I was like, let's stop doing this. Let's do those movements, because even for CrossFit, they're trying to like rep all these in high volumes or high intensity.
For speed and
Exactly. So I was like, you could still do that, but do it in a smarter way.
Yeah.
So that's why, we're incorporating those movements with the sandbags, because that's something you're picking up stuff every day.
Yeah.
You're trying to carry yourself up. You're, doing all this. It's more functional.
Yeah. When you have your clients doing it, and again, because you have this thing to train for, you have a schedule of obstacle course races that you guys do throughout the year. So there's tied to that. Like it connects the dots again. You can envision yourself picking up the sandbag in training for what you're going to be doing on the course. So you said like programming wise. So as far as like all these workouts go, whether you have them different coaches leading different sessions, do you program it for all the clients to be on a set program? And if you do, what does that look like?
Yeah. So we have we call it like a blueprint program. So before quarantine, it would be a set program, but no matter what level you are. So we actually have clients who just want to do the workouts who don't race. So that's fine. It's just to lose weight or whatever the reasons are, just to be healthy. That's fine. They could still do that workout. Then we have the people who we call our core team. So they're kind of like not there to that really competitive level, or they're competitive, but maybe they're just doing like a weekend warrior type of, racing on the weekends for fun. So we have those guys, and then we have obviously the more competitive, or like our pro team. So no matter what the workout is, you could scale it from a beginner level to a competitive pro level. So whether it's more reps, heavier weight, shorter times or faster times, or not doing it with weight at all, like you could do a lot of the movements, just body weight exercises, movements. So that's kind of like the blueprint, and then there's a base of like how many miles or amount of time of running you should be doing per week. So if you're starting off, I would probably say like 10 to 15 miles, break that up however you want during the week, and then you're doing strength and conditioning like 3-4 times a week. But that's also dependent on your schedule. So each client's a little bit different. So depending on your schedule, give me 3 days a week to run and work out. So when somebody reaches out to you, maybe they haven't trained with you guys in the past, is it kind of that onboarding where there's like an initial like assessment or a conversation about like, all right, what's your schedule looking like, what's your goal, and taking it from there? I mean that's awesome, because I mean unfortunately that's not even the norm at a lot of gyms, you know what I mean? For sure. So I think that sometimes people think about like, again, these outdoor boot camps where it's just like somebody opening up and just jumping in to do the outdoor, not because they research, it's just because that's the easiest thing for them. You did a lot of research, you thought this through. So to hear that, you still have that opportunity to get to know a client for sure
and take that seriously, and their overall well-being, very important, is awesome to hear. So you said you have a very wide variety of not only like skill level, but just demographic, or most people are within that like 30 to 50 age? No,
we actually have so we have our youngest is probably like in the 20s to, I believe we have a 45-year-old client.
Cool.
So pretty wide scale in terms of the age, skill level, obviously. And then also, I think that, especially now it's very relevant, is that we're a very diverse group culturally, in a very white dominant sport. So it's funny because when we first started, we were very Asian dominated, and people weren't taking us seriously because even just if you're comparing body types, you know, we're competing against like, you know, 6 lengthy guys, you know, they're fast, or they're longer, they're faster. So yeah, people weren't really taking us serious in, you know, in terms of competitions.
Right.
You know, we're like 5'5", you know, kind of stocky or whatever, but we would give them, you know, a run for their money. So that's when we started really buzzing in like the OCR community. So people were starting to see like, who are these hardcore guys? Who are these HK, you know, people? So, what I do take kind of pride in that is that we're such a melting pot of people, but it also brings in like all these different like elements of, hey, this works for this person, it might help you or it might not. So that's how like the whole like all the ideas are starting to like come together, like, you know, testing out different things, and, you know, like food, nutrition, sleep, supplements too. It's all these different things are coming together. Yeah. So that's how like a lot of things like pivoted and has grown to
just like organically.
Yeah,
for sure. So I mean, because when you're there to kind of serve your community, and that is true, then as you get to know your community a little bit more opportunities come up to serve them. You know, there's going to be questions of nutrition, and again, you have to be approachable to all that stuff, and you kind of have to lead by example. For sure. And then just that curiosity comes. They start asking about what you're doing, and you know, hopefully you are, you know, doing what you're preaching, and you know, that's how other opportunities kind of present themselves. Exactly. So, you know, that's awesome, man. And so again, you mentioned COVID a couple times. So I don't know, I'd love to say we're on the tail end of it, but who knows with this. So we're 3 months in. What initial impact did that have? I mean, because somebody could be thinking, oh, well, everything they do is outdoors. Yeah. So they probably weren't impacted. But what was that really like for you?
No, we were definitely impacted. You know, we had to, you know, stop classes for the 3 months, just to be safe. You know, different clients had different, you know, their opinions about it. Yeah. But ultimately, it's the safety of the client. So I was like, let's just be safe. Let's cut classes. But it kind of just revealed, and we were able to work on a lot of weaknesses and for the client. So some needed. It's funny because usually a trainer would have the issue of having the client to train. At Hardkour, we kind of have the issue of having them to stop and rest. Right. Because they're always go hard. Yeah. They just want to go hard all the time. Yeah. It's like, you guys need to rest. You guys need to active recovery. You guys need to sleep. A lot of them are like 6-7 days a week, just like nonstop, even like 2 days, you know. So, so with this time, it was like, this is perfect to really just take it back. Like, there's no races. Just maintain your fitness and just work on the things that you said you didn't have time for. Yeah. Because this is the perfect time.
Yeah, and that's so true for all of us, whether we're business owners or just, you know, just kind of going through life with blinders on, with the chaos that we have created for ourselves. That there's this forced opportunity to slow down, and once you start realizing that by slowing down, you don't necessarily lose any progress that you made, and you might actually make more progress. For sure. Light bulbs go off for people. For sure. Because like you said, working out smarter and not harder is the key to longevity. For sure. So getting, you know, forcing that for people to understand is a huge aha moment for so many people. Definitely. Man, and so with the recovery side of it, what are some of the things that you partake in personally and have your clients do as well?
For sure. I think rest days are a huge thing. So I think it's underestimated where people think they need to train every day. It's really just just relax. You know,
it's hard, man.
It's hard. And, you know, and before it was like, I would just kind of tell it in passing, like, hey, just take a rest day. But now it's implemented in the training program. It's like you need to take one day off, whatever day you choose, as long as you're taking one day at least. I know some people, like even for myself, like I need to do something. So yoga, some type of active recovery or mobility work. So, you guys are starting to do like your online yoga programs with Barcode app.
Yeah.
I know I met Jasmine, took one of her classes before. Cool, but there's so many resources, online and YouTube, and even during the time, a lot of gyms, a lot of trainers were providing free Instagram lives, free classes, free programs. So in that sense, it kind of impacted us because like we couldn't really get new clients or sell or like recruit new people.
So did you see a lot of your clients jumping on that and doing other virtual training?
No. So we were lucky enough to like clients stayed, still kept their memberships, so that was fine. It was just like the getting new clients. So that was kind of tough because they couldn't really go to a class, but we did provide an online program for our current clients or anyone who wanted it. So so recovery, so yoga, breath work, AeroFit's something that I personally use, just to kind of, as entrepreneurs or business owners, it's just really purposely taking the time to sit down and, watch your breath and doing some breath work.
And there's something like that in particular, like it feeds you too and gives you something back because you feel like you're working out almost, So AeroFit is a breathing device that helps strengthen your respiratory system in your lungs, while also obviously going through breathing protocols, whether it's like a balanced breath, and then it actually measures the force, so you are kind of like, it's almost like a little gamification of it, where you're trying to follow along the breathing pattern. So it is pretty cool. I got one. I haven't been using it as often.
It's I've been trying to use it consistently, but you could kind of tell, like if you're like a little bit more stressed out, I would either early in the morning, like right when I get up, or it's kind of to wind down. It's been a helpful tool for me. So just being mindful of that.
And I mean, in a lot of these recovery protocols, like you have to position it in a way and know who you're talking to and know your audience to get them to do it. You know what I mean? So there are things that you can do that do feel like you're actually doing something, like the ice baths or even the saunas. They can be a little intense. Yoga, you're moving. So it's this idea of a rest day doesn't mean you have to not do anything. Not do something, it's like active recovery is the conversation that we really like to have for people. So that's awesome. And so again, going into COVID from the business standpoint, do you have like employees on the lineup, or how's that structured as far as like, I guess financially? You said you were able to still kind of keep memberships going, keep it alive. Did you have to look into any of like the PPP or the EIDL resources, like the SBA stuff?
So it's mainly me, and then I contract a lot of like the work. So we have a guy who does like the websites, emails, kind of like all the back end work, and then you actually know Annalise, so she's kind of
she's a beast.
She's a beast, yeah. So
Anna Beast. Has she taken on the nickname Anna Beast?
Anna Beast, that's a good one.
Heard it here first.
You heard it here first. That's actually we might use that.
That's it. You can have it.
She says hi, by the way.
Tell her I said hello.
For sure. So she's handling the nutrition side. So, and I do everything from performance training program and kind of like all the business work and marketing, obviously. So, she's super passionate about, nutrition, trying to help the team, perform better, fuel themselves better with, compared to what they're currently eating. Yeah. So, we have people who are coming in, with extra pounds, and they want to move better, they want to cut some weight, because kind of like touching base on what we mentioned earlier is that we talk to the client with their schedule, what their goal is, but we don't do like we don't check their weight, their body fat percentage when they come in, because we track their performance rather than how they look. So we always tell them, looking good is just the byproduct of the hard work that you're putting in.
Yeah.
So that's not the goal, though. You're already going to lose weight. You're going to cut the fat. You're going to put on muscle. But that's not what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
So that's why we do like 1 mile time trials, 2 mile time trials, or you're doing these like a Spartan sprint, which is a 5K. We're comparing your times or your performance, like how do you feel, like what obstacles did you miss, what obstacles did you make. So that's our scale of seeing
which should be the scale, you know what I mean, like performance. How are you feeling when you're doing this stuff? Yes. Right? It's like, yeah, you get to test that all the time, which is awesome. We try to have those conversations at our gyms. Yeah. Oh shit, forgot to hit that.
All good.
Some of the benefits of recording video, you get to see all the back end stuff. That was my lovely girlfriend.
Sweet.
But
just checking.
But you guys have that built in, right? Like we try to have those conversations from the jump when we're doing initial assessment with somebody. But just the people that are coming into the gym, they're so fixated on the whole, what mass media puts out and the fitness industry at large, about what means what health looks like, you know what I mean? It's like it's the abs, it's the whatever, right? And it's like that's runs so deep for so many people that even though we try to have that conversation about it, it's about how you feel. It's a tough one because you're not testing it all the time. Like we might be seeing you 3 or 4 times a week, but unless you're like getting outside and actually testing your performance, it's hard to keep that motivating.
It's tough.
So you guys got that built in. That's awesome.
It's built in. Yeah. So and going back to your question, so Annalise is kind of handling all the nutrition side, all that, and then I have my buddy Mark who's doing all the back end work, but mostly just me doing everything else from the business aspect, and then been looking into like all the government help with because of COVID, but I think there's a lot of paperwork and fires and hoops you got to go through. So
it's not fun. It's not fun.
So I think, but the benefit is that we're not really paying like a major rent or bills as much. So
so I guess like with all these different business models, I like to talk about them and figure them out a little bit. It's like, I think again, like judgment is like, oh well, you don't have a brick and mortar, so it must be easy. But no, like what is it that you guys allocate a lot of your resources towards? Like what do you need to stay sustainable as a business? I mean, you mentioned marketing quite a bit. I know you do a lot of cross promotions with other companies. So I think people look at that as if it's not work. That's just fucking work, to make these collaborations, these connections, and that's time, that's energy, and resources a lot of the time.
For sure. So kind of what our money goes into is marketing, because like you said, like we don't have the traditional brick and mortar. We don't have anywhere for people to kind of come into, like not even like was it a home base, as you could say, or an office. So really we're making these locations, these trails, these parks are the meeting spots. So we're a legit company. We're an LLC, so we get all the paperwork to have our classes at the parks, trails, beaches,
permits and stuff like
that. Insurance. If someone were to get hurt, it's on us. Like we want to protect our clients.
Definitely.
It's not, because I know a lot of trainers, they're not necessarily like a big business. They're just trying to get some clients or clients that they already have to do these workouts outdoors. That's fine, but usually they don't have these permits to actually be there. So technically, some locations, like luckily we don't usually have to do this often, where we have to kick people out. So other teams, other boot camps are in the same area that we're at, but legally we could kick them out because we have the paperwork. So that's a lot of some of the funding or money that goes into that. So that's
yeah, man. I just feel like there's probably not even a lot of people that are doing shit at your level, thinking about things like longevity and building a business all around this, because it's so fucking awesome, like what you guys are doing, because a lot of the struggles that we have, with brick and mortar stuff, are built in to yours, you know what I mean? Like the whole, like, say, member appreciation day, like the goal is to kind of get members out of the gym and like connecting. And you guys doing that every day. You guys, you know what I mean? Like, and then you have these bigger events, where it's like there's, they're trying to coordinate a barbecue for, our gym members is a challenge, but it's like fucking after you crush a workout, of course you want to either throw back some beers or some of those food, delicious non-alcoholic IPAs or some food, so it's like, man, I love it, man. What would you say is some of the biggest struggles with your business, or the things, you as the one responsible and the owner of it, like what are you finding yourself doing that you just can't stand, and like what aspects of the business are like just tough on you?
For sure. Man, there's a lot. There's a lot.
I feel you, bro.
The challenges is, and we get this a lot, or even now, from the beginning till now, is the name Hardkour is, people are intimidated. So there's a lot of convincing, a lot of education, like just try it out. Like, we offer free trials, free classes, free weeks or whatever. And just to have them come out is the biggest struggle, because they see the videos, they see the content, they see the photos. They're like, that looks intense. That's too hardcore for me. I get people who say, I need to start working out first before coming to your class. I'm like, you just got to come in. Like, we'll scale it. Like, whatever fitness level you're at, everyone's like open arms, like everyone's friendly. And I think that's like kind of the culture that we're trying to develop, is that no matter what you look like, who you are, what your culture is, or whatever fitness goal, just come in, just try it out, So that's always been a struggle. Like since the beginning, it's always like you won't die, like you won't pass out, like but people throw up and whatever. But shouldn't that be like a light bulb for you that maybe you're not as fit as you think? Like you're going to the gym, but you can't go up the stairs, or like you have all these big biceps, but you can't throw a sandbag over your body. Like, what's up? Like, there's something wrong there. So that's always been a struggle for us, in terms of marketing too. So what kind of conversations have you had to kind of maybe bridge that gap? Like, what are you working on to make it more approachable? I think it's when they see other people, not just really fit, like let's say our pro team, they're all shredded, they're strong, what have you, but seeing just like someone that maybe like looks similar to them doing these type of workouts. So and I even with the social media, it's like I try to differentiate who's being featured. It's not just like the best of the best, it's the new client, introducing them like, hey, like we have this person, whether they're 20 years old or 45 years old, they're killing it. They're out here. They're waking up early. They're doing this. But I think it's social media is a huge factor too. Like they wanna. Sometimes the workouts aren't glamorous or it looks cool or it looks good, doesn't get the likes, but that's what's gonna make you better, right? Like sometimes and I kind of have a struggle with that. It's like, how do I make this look good? Like, how do I make this look cool? But after a while it's kind of like, just post it. It doesn't really matter. So as long as you have that consistent content. That's a major struggle. What I don't like doing is a lot of the back end work, to be honest.
There's so much of it, man.
It's like paperwork, it's like, damn, you're constantly learning though, it's, like all the PPE, all the government stuff, taxes. I'm sure,
it really is never ending, and it's like, you have to wear those hats, but it's just like it weighs on you, like as we sit here and talk about shit, I'm thinking about some permits right now that I don't have. And I'm like, fuck. And, it's like, you have to make time for it. And it's like, when you're running lean, especially going through COVID and just trying to survive, it's like the help that you may have had isn't, necessarily necessarily around because you can't afford them. You have to furlough people. So it's like,
for sure.
It just, and I was, before we jumped on, I was telling you, it's like, man, I think about everything that I need to do, and, I just don't necessarily have a system to get it all done, like as the day, when I wake up super overwhelmed, because that's when I'm kind of just laying in bed, like literally 3:30 a.m. is the wake up time, not necessarily because I've got shit to do, just because like the anxiety builds at that point and I'm up. So at that point, I'm thinking about everything that I got to do. And sometimes I'll get ahead of it and I'll make little notes and little to-do lists, but most of the times I don't. And then I just get up and I get through the day. And then like as the day progresses, then I get back to my purpose a little bit more. I'm like, all right, I'm here. I'm having conversations. This is dope. This is what I enjoy. This is why I do all this shit. And then before I know it, towards the end of the day's winding down and forgot about these to run to the city. I forgot about these things. And it's just the cycle kind of starts again. And it's just like over and over and over.
But I think that's what separates, business owners, entrepreneurs. And when I started, HK, it's like you learn quick of who you are, what you're trying to do. You have this new respect for business owners. So it's kind of like, this is the stuff that they're thinking about.
I mean, and just embracing it, you know what I mean? Like yesterday, just a quick jump on or 2 days ago, just like on the story, it's just like a moment of just like gratitude and appreciation for my work ethic. Like I got so much shit that I'm not efficient at, you know what I mean? But I'm super thankful that I do have this ability to show up and grind it out, you know what I mean? And just be there, even though it's not, again, the most efficient use probably of my time, but sometimes showing up is half the fucking battle. You know what I mean? Because I see a lot of people, really, just taking these days off, which again, like I find myself talking shit about it, but it's not really, I'm not trying to, but it's just like when you got goals and you're trying to be successful, there's not that many pathways to reach that success. You know what I mean? One that is like almost a given is this ability to show up, and put in the work while others aren't, while others, are more preoccupied about what's happening socially or culturally even, or what football game's on Sunday. You know what I mean? It's like somehow during this journey, all that shit has gone to the wayside. I don't fucking watch, well, no one's watching football right now, but it's like, I don't watch sports. I mean, some of the things that, I'm not stoked about is like definitely relationships have unfortunately suffered and failed, and a lot of friendships I'm not nearly as connected with either. So like those are the things that, I really try to urge people to hang on to and be conscious of, because it's a slippery slope once you start giving up some of these hobbies. Before you know it, for sure, you just feel isolated in this position of responsibility, and that's not beneficial. You know what I mean? So it's like recognizing that, stop it when you can, but it's like there's this level of grind that needs to fucking happen.
No, I totally agree with you, man. It's being a business owner, you're like you start to realize like who your like true friends are, because sometimes like you don't even have time to hang out, do all these extracurriculars. But I feel like if your true friends and family are going to just respect that, like even if you guys aren't talking and hanging out every day or what have you, like they got your back, you got their back. They know what you're doing. So.
And that's, and I hope that too. And it's like sometimes, like I'm like, maybe they're looking at me like, oh, that he was never a true friend or whatever. You know what I mean? But it's like, it's like I feel like, if you ever need anything, like I'm there. Just for sure. Just you got to reach out, and sometimes proactively neither of us do that. You know what I mean? We don't necessarily reach out, so we feel like those people aren't around or whatever. So man, it's a grind, it's a struggle, but coming out, hopefully COVID's getting close to being behind us. What are things looking like for you? I mean, in Orange County, you do a lot of training in Orange County.
County, and we kind of dabble into like the LA County. So we're actually going to be in Verdugo or in Burbank, close by this weekend. So maybe we'll swing by.
Saturday or Sunday?
Saturday.
Okay.
So maybe we could bring the team here.
For sure. That'd be awesome. Let me know. We'll open up the space and, kind of do a little circuit here. Get in the ice, get in the saunas. That'd be awesome.
But, as like we're starting classes this week, actually. Tomorrow is going to be our first day since quarantine happened. So 3 months. But we have new protocols. We're limiting the amount of people per class. So only eight people.
Okay.
And then we're going to do BYOE is bring your own equipment. So all the workouts are going to be scaled. You could do it without equipment. Sometimes people don't have access to it, or if you want to, make it harder, you could bring your own set of kettlebells, your own set of dumbbells, or sandbag, or weight vest, and then we'll scale it to whatever you bring.
Yeah.
So, and then face masks are optional. People are, we'll provide the disinfecting wipes, hand sanitizer, but some people are more anal about it, and they'll bring their own, and but there's no sharing of equipment, so it's just different, but we'll kind of see how it goes. A lot of the gyms that we're working with now too, like the rock climbing gym, they're planning on opening up, but I don't know, it's still kind of like that rocky territory, kind of see where the industry is going.
And wherever your beliefs are, because we're coming from a health and wellness space, we know that the masks serve a purpose, the hand sanitizer serves a purpose, but ultimately what's going to pull you through this is building up your immune system, is working out, is eating well, you know what I mean? So it's before the masks, I think that's what we agree on, that needs to happen at scale, you know what I mean? Everyone needs to start having those conversations. So it's a fine line between having really pushing that message and discrediting, say, the mask and the hand sanitizer, but we need to get out there, we need to do the best that we can to balance all of that. I'm somewhat fearful of these gyms opening up and people from the health and wellness space almost trying to discredit that as a band-aid. I get it, but dude, to a certain extent, it has to help. I was talking to a buddy who with gyms starting to reopen, you just have to think about these things logically, so if you're going to the gym, I would probably say that it's not in your best interest to wear a mask, just from the standpoint is there's no way that you're going to avoid your hands touching all sorts of shit, the dumbbells, even if the gym's being very proactive and clean, your hands are all over that gym. And unless you're going and you're doing hand sanitizer between every set, your hands are going to be pretty grimy. So in my mind, the way that I think is all right, I'm not going to wear a mask because the chances of me now going to my face and touching the mask is a lot higher. You know what I mean? So I'd rather just get my hands dirty, know that, just don't touch your face, versus, because you're not going to, what else are you going to be doing with your, if you ain't got a mask on? So it's just think things through, man, and just know that this isn't all about you either, that there's, a lot of the mask wearing is for the people around you, and just being conscious and courteous,
Exactly.
So are you noticing a divide within your clients about someone fuck that, or
for sure.
You're trying to, because that's on, that's something that you got to navigate, because some of it might be perceptual and you're only doing this stuff for the perception of staying safer, but it's that is a decision and a big part of why you have to do things, because you have to make people comfortable. So it's how's that been shaping up for you?
It's definitely a divide. So but I think the ultimate goal is the safety, regardless of what you believe in, because I'm talking to nurses that I know, it's a real thing. Some people actually don't believe that we're in a pandemic.
Created, right?
So it's all right, well, if you don't believe it, at least be respectful of the people that do.
Right.
So that's why masks, bring your own equipment, be proactive, disinfect yourself, or practice the 6 feet apart. So it's not a perception. It's we really just want the clients to be safe. Really. So and then it's you have to RSVP, you have to confirm. If you don't confirm, be respectful to give your spot up for another person who wants to come in, because we're cutting the class to 8 people per session. So spots are limited. So Yeah,
I wish more people, just like you said, no matter what you believe in, I just wish more people were okay with inconveniencing themselves just a little bit for the betterment of everyone else. You know what I mean? So,
I think it's just crazy too, because like, yeah, we're talking to nurses and they're saying like it's kind of going down, but you know, with protests, there's spikes.
Yeah.
Like businesses are opening up, there's going to be a spike, and then they're even talking about like flu season, like later in the year, there's going to be another spike.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, okay, how do we prepare for that? Or,
right.
you know, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
You know, so
like it's such an all or nothing mentality, right? So it's like people are going from wearing masks and taking every single precaution necessary up to this point where it's like, hey, you know, things are starting to open, and they think that, you know, that now it's just like completely safe to not give a fuck about anything, which is like, I just don't understand how that fully works in people's heads. You know what I mean? And if you want to support these businesses and you want these businesses open, it just seems to make sense to do all that you can to do that, because once things spike again, you know, why wouldn't businesses get shut down again? Mm-hmm. You know, and then what? You know, like there's probably not a lot much the government can do to help support these businesses even longer than they already have. You know, so it's like, what's next? And then the next wave, and it's like it's just. I mean, it's a bigger conversation of just like people's like how they show up in the world, but it's just like it's scary, man. It's tough.
It's scary. It's a crazy time right now in the world, the industry, and all that. So if
we're gonna like assume that like there, you know, come flu season again, like a spike, is there anything that you're doing to put your business in a better position than it was before going into that?
It's funny. We're gonna have a meeting about, you know, the precautions of, okay, so I think we've already experienced the biggest hit of it, like the initial hit, but that second wave, what are we gonna do? So yeah, we're actually gonna talk about that. Not too sure yet, like what exactly what we're gonna do, but what we struggled in was, you know, 3 months of quarantine. Some of our clients were losing motivation. Yeah, you know, some people were okay because, well, first of all, like different clients are motivated differently. So, and then they have a different access to equipment. So even when we program, sometimes they're not able to do it because they don't have a treadmill, or they don't feel safe going outside, or they don't have equipment. So what worked in the beginning was doing like these, you know, virtual challenges, which are still going on, but you know, you could only do so many like virtual runs, virtual challenges, virtual workouts. So it's like, how do we keep the client motivated with what they have, or what's something that we haven't done yet, something creative, to kind of keep that motivation, because initially, like that first month, maybe month and a half, it really wasn't that bad. We were like, okay, this is cool. Like, you know, we're doing Zoom workouts. Like we did a burpee contest via Zoom. You see everyone, you know, we'll kind of do like a bracket system. People are going head to head, and you know, it was kind of cool. It was fun. We did a Cinco de Mayo. We did a workout, and we were drinking. So it was kind of cool, you know. But after a while, like if we're doing this, you know, in the summertime, especially, because when it first started, it was kind of gloomy. Right. Like I didn't mind staying home, so that was cool. I was like, all right, like I'll just stay in, like I'm just sleep in, whatever. It's chill. Now it's summer. Like people want to go out, so it's kind of like, all right, if we're gonna stay in during the summer, like what are we gonna do? Yeah. So
I mean, and I mean, I guess it's all about incentivizing people. You know, like before they had the actual courses or the races to show up for, and now they don't. So it's like, now what? You know, the virtual thing, like you said, you can still get workouts in, but it's just not the same.
It's not the same.
So it's like just trying to get creative on, you know, incentivizing. You know, maybe through some of your partners or whatever, like sponsorships. You know, actually having, you know, some pretty legit prizes. You know, that might do it.
Yeah, I mean that's what we do. Like you know, we work with Athletic Brew, like Aerofit, and you know, like you guys too. It's working with the community, and I'm all about, you know, we're small businesses. Like we're the one, you know, we're a big part of the economy essentially.
Yeah.
So, and seeing like a lot of big names going out of business, it's a scary fact too. You know, it's like if, you know, say I'm a huge fan of Supplantation, they went out of business. I was like, yo, like they had like what 40 plus locations nationwide.
Yeah, I mean 20. Like a lot of the big box gyms are going out. You know, like
20,
filing for bankruptcy.
24. Yeah, I think Golds too.
Yeah, I mean whether or not, you know, they're just like restructuring or whatever, but like 24 Hour Fitness, like they're actually closing. I think like there's like 50 locations closed that aren't coming back. So a lot of things are like, man,
it's shaking up the industry.
Absolutely.
You know? I mean, even like online training, you know, I'm starting to look into that. Like, should we kind of like split it up, like have like outdoor classes where people who feel comfortable enough to do that, or people who don't, they could still have access to like an online training, program. So yeah, there's kind of like
whatever you decide, there's a lot of pros and there's a lot of cons, and there's a lot of work that needs to happen, you know.
Exactly.
So, I mean, that was one of the big lessons that we took here at the Space Bar was, you know, we need to, you know, we've talked about this forever about like we need to get outside of our walls, you know, with what we do, and whether it was the Fit Bar, Space Bar, or whatever, it's like, you know, so much of what we try to get across really has nothing to do with any of like the smoothies or the acai bowls. It's just this lifestyle that we're trying to promote, you know, mindset, nutrition, and movement. And at the Space Bar is a little bit more of the recovery stuff, but still the same conversation. You know, we always wanted people to come to the Space Bar and do the small group recovery workouts or whatever it was, and it's like, for one, like when we fully reopen, that's not even possible. You know, like we don't have the space in here to socially distance. And you know, looking back at it, hindsight's 2020, where it's like, okay, the space that we even had for like a group session, like we'd never be able to break even on the coaching costs to do those. You know what I mean? So it's like, all right, let's put out this weekly program of, you know, three workouts, a yoga flow, and you know, start having some more conversations about the breathing and the nutrition stuff, and just putting that stuff out there and letting people hopefully either stumble upon it and get interested in it and then come to us for the saunas, the ice baths, the other things that we have here. And just really committing to that. And you know, we're probably in our third week of doing that. And it's like, you know, just from what it is, as basic as it might look, as me putting it out there, like it's literally all I fucking do. You know what I mean? Like it's like Tuesdays, I got my, you know, Anthony and Andrea coming in here and we're filming the workouts. Also Tuesdays doing the yoga. So Tuesdays pretty much all spoken for filming. We're doing this podcast, you know, so now doing this regularly. Before I know it, there's probably 7 or 8 hours of just like doing this, and then it's like editing and trying to put it out there. It's like, okay. So I'm trying to like get the squad all on board, you know, like I'm, you know, my brothers are in business with me and bless as well. So there's a group of us, and it's like, you know, how do we divide and conquer? How do we keep all these businesses going, but also like maintain a level of just like, you know, us feeling good about what we're doing. And it's like, I can do all this, but I need everybody to be on board with this and like know that you support me and support ultimately what I'm trying to do for all the businesses. And same thing for everybody else is like, how do we get into our lane and split some of this up? Because like right now, like we're all wearing every hat. We're all trying to do our thing, you know, and it's tough, man. So
I hear you.
So hopefully, you know, we come back out of COVID stronger businesses, you know, more even buy-in from our community, because, you know, we really tried to be there for them this entire time. And I think, you know, what you've done with continuing to stay in touch with all your clients and give them workouts during this time, you know, shows a lot. And a lot of businesses, you know, we were all of our backs were up against the wall, but a lot of businesses just said, fuck it, I'm closing the doors. I'm going to try to file for some of this help, and, you know, we'll see where we're at and we'll reopen. But it's like, nah, we're community oriented. We're going to take lumps this entire time. Just in case 3 of you want to walk down Colorado Boulevard here in Pasadena and get a smoothie, like we're going to be here. For sure. I mean?
No, I hear you, man. I think it's all about the community. You know, you build that connection with the clients, and it's hard, you know, and they have your back. You know, I feel it from my clients too. They've been supported 100%, especially during this time. So, you know, you kind of appreciate that, and that's kind of like that why to keep going. You know, like no matter how hard, you know, if we could survive this, you know, it's we could survive a whole lot.
Yeah, so. Absolutely, man. So post-COVID, hardcore, what's in the future for you, man? Like, where do you want to take hardcore? Is there anything else you want to do outside of hardcore? What's
man, I'm kind of just hoping that things start to get to normal again. Like, we miss racing. That was kind of like our main thing, was we were training for that. We were traveling. We were going to different venues, different states. So that was a big thing. Like right now, it's really hard to plan like where the season's going to be. Like the only consistent thing right now is the training, the programming. Our online sales went up because like we're producing a lot more merchandise. We're partnering with more like supplement companies, so people could buy stuff online. But in terms of like training and programming, it could be stable, or we need to figure out a way to kind of do. I don't know.
So I guess what is the conversation around like opening back up obstacle course races? Are they like in the festival category, like music festival type of shit? I guess like large gatherings.
Large gatherings. So, California's a lot stricter. So Spartan Race, which is probably the biggest one, they did their first race since COVID in Jacksonville, Florida. So it was a short race.
Florida don't give a fuck. Of course.
That's true. that was the other conversation, was that, okay, Florida's kind of like doing their own thing. But they did it there this past weekend. So new protocols as well. You couldn't be in the festival area unless your wait time was within 30 minutes. So that was one. There was hand sanitizer stations at each obstacle. So I was like, okay, that's good. And being proactive. Everyone, temperatures were being checked. Face masks were required. I'm not too sure about like if you're on the course, if you needed one. And then obstacles were spread out. They were, like 6 feet apart. So it was a short race, like a 3-mile race, but it looked promising.
Yeah.
So, but, our concern is if you're getting in the water, you're getting in the mud.
Yeah, people are spitting,
like spitting, peeing, what have you. Yeah. So, or people are sick.
Wait, hold up. People are peeing in that water?
you hear stories.
You got to do what you got to do to stay warm?
So,
okay, that's a pro tip right there. It's a pro tip.
Yeah.
And I will never be doing another one. So
I mean, like in the beginning, like people were getting pink eye, so because dirt, mud, whatever is getting in your eye. So the obstacle course racing, it's still up in there. We really don't know. What we're hoping is trail races are going to start picking back up. I feel like it's a little bit more attainable, more reachable right now, because a lot of the trails are opening up too, and a lot of the trail runners, they're smarter. Like they're running with mask on, or if you have to pass by someone, they're throwing their mask on. So, and you're not touching anything.
Yeah.
So, and as long as the course is wide enough, I think there'll be enough to be 6 feet apart or what have you, and different wave times. You could send them smaller groups. Before I think it was like every 15 to 30 minutes. Maybe you could do 30, 45 minutes, what have you. So it's spread out a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, keeping my fingers crossed for all of it, and again, like the only way through it is through not doing shit the exact same that it was before, but getting creative and meeting people in the middle and trying to look for actual outcomes rather than just stomping your feet and like being mad that you don't that shit's changed. You know what I mean? It's you just got to get creative with it, man. So I'm stoked to have you on, for one, because like an awesome business that you're running.
Thank you.
Very different than some of but the things that I've experienced again, because we have like brick and mortars, which again are great but suck a lot. You know what I mean? So it's like seeing you guys outdoors yours is like cool, you know, what I mean? Like actually sharing some of the research and the development that you did to kind of get to where you are. What would be one piece of advice for, you know, somebody else who wants to kind of maybe do what you do to avoid what was like your biggest mistake that you made thus far in creating Hardkour?
Oh man, biggest mistake. I think trust is a big thing. Like, I used to hire trainers, and then there's a lot of like, you know, going behind your back, trying to steal clients. So I think there just needs to be like a better system in that sense. And just trusting people. I think because I'm all about community. But it's kind of like if that bridge is broken, it's hard to kind of build that back. So, and you kind of learn that quick too. It's like, who do you want to work with? Like, you're your own boss because you're able to choose like who you want to work with, like who you want to partner with, collaborate with. You know, you guys got to be in the same wavelength. If you guys aren't seeing eye to eye, it's, you know, it is what it is. Like you don't have to bend over backwards, but you know, in the beginning, it's, I'm talking to like younger people too, where they want to start their own business, and it's kind of like, sometimes you gotta work for free. You know, you provide your service and do what you have to do to kind of like get your name out there. But sometimes you're just like, I need to get paid for what I'm doing. Like, I understand that, like, you got bills to pay. But, you know, sad reality is you're nobody in the industry. Like, you need to build your name. So in the beginning, like, that's what I had to do. Like, even now, like, if I want to work with bigger companies, it's like, I'll do what I have to do, you know, to kind of bring the business up there. So,
yeah, dude, it's that is very real. You know, a lot of millennials or whoever it is, like there's this, they have this expectation that, you know, because they've always been empowered, you know, there's participation trophies and shit like that. You know, the unintended consequences was this feeling that you deserve something. And, you know, I struggle with this too. Because, I mean, for one, they don't know the work that's gone into it, you know, and a lot of people will never understand. One, just because they're wired differently, and that's good for them, you know, but it's like, they'll never fully understand all that goes into this shit. And it's only tied to them being like just compensation and all that stuff, right? And it's like tough because now where I'm at right now, I value people, and I want you to value yourself too. You know what I mean? Like, so I struggle with that, and like I probably what's the word? When you give like an alcoholic a beer or something, like enable, you know, so I enable some of those behaviors too, because, you know, like, I'm like, I don't want you to have to go through the same shit that I go through. So I'm trying to figure out how to avoid that. But I don't know how. So it's like, then I'm like, okay, fuck, like, I'm saying this shit because I don't want you to go through it. But really all I know is the fucking going through the shit. You know what I mean? So it's like,
that's the thing though. It's like, I'm telling these younger guys or younger people is that I could tell you all this, like what I've been through, but you're not going to learn it unless you experience it. You have to make the mistake. You just have to go your own path. You have to commit to what you're trying to do. Because even if I'm giving you the advice, like even with training or what have you, I'm telling you what to do. The client is going to decide if they listen or not, or actually execute it or not. So I'm not going to hold your hand and do it. I'm going to tell you my professional opinion. But, you know, if I'm telling you to take a rest day, sometimes there's still training. It's the same thing with business advice or mentoring or what have you. It's like, you know, don't do this, but more than likely they're going to do it. You know, that's probably like the same with coaching, parenting, you know. It's the same thing, I think. So
I mean, it's like, you know, you want better for your kids, right? You know, and you can explain that, but sometimes when, you know, again, you know, you just revert back to all you know, and right now all I know is grinding, you know what I mean, and doing it. So it's like I'm trying to figure it all out, how to have a little bit of balance, but also being cool with sticking it out and being a little unhappy sometimes, you know what I mean?
I mean, if you're passionate about it, like, you know, like even if you're not getting paid, like as cliche as it is, you know, the money didn't really matter for me. You know, it was like, I really wanted, like, this is what I love to do. You know, like, even if you're okay with answering that, like, if I'm doing this and not getting paid for it, I think you're golden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Like, we're always looking for, you know, like more and more and more. But, you know, if you're passionate about something, you know, maybe you should consider looking at what you can do less of, and like whether that's buying fucking shit, you know what I mean, or a cheaper apartment or whatever it might be, you know, like, you know, that can be a solution to your problems, you know. So
definitely.
Yeah, man. So appreciate you coming on, man. You said you're going to be kind of in the area this weekend, man. I might save you a trip, and maybe I can just load up the van with something, and we can meet you guys over at the park or wherever you guys are going to be at.
Hey,
so
man,
we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
Any, I guess, let everyone know where they can find you, where they can find Hardkour on Instagram or the website. Or
Hardkour Performance, HARDKOUR. So play on words with Hardkour. Instagram, YouTube, our website. It's not an adult site, so Instagram actually flagged us for being an adult.
Because it's hardcore,
and Hardkour Performance. They actually thought it was, so it got flagged.
Oh wow!
So we actually can't outlink. So, but you can find us. There's no adult content there. So, that's
some of you might be disappointed.
Yeah. So I mean, if you get like naked guys,
so you can't actually. So someone can't just link out and go to your.
I can link out to our website.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So it's like we've been trying to.
Not even with like a little bit.ly, like a
because even with the bit.ly, it'll go to the website, and then the website still gets flagged. So I'm like, damn,
that's tricky. Interesting.
So follow us.
That's where they want to protect for the content that they. Okay. Yeah. That's where they're spending all their time and energy, but they got all this fake news out there.
Seriously, man.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate your time, dude.
Thank you for having me.
Let's go ahead and wrap this up. Until next time. Barcode Collective on Instagram, barcode_collective. You can find me at cub_Saldana. Please go follow Fit Bar Cafe and Spacebar Wellness. And if you haven't yet checked out the weekly program, it's on all three of the websites: fitbarcafe.com, spacebarwellness.com, and barcodecollective.com. But just go hit the weekly program tab, and we got you covered there. And thanks for spending your we're probably over an hour right now. What is that time wise? Yeah, dude, because I didn't start that audio for fucking 20 minutes. I'm gonna have to figure out how to do that in post production.
Oh man,
but we'll figure it out. That's why we got the video back up. But all right, man. Well, until next time, guys. Thank you. We're out of here.